I reckon one of the most common questions I hear when I talk to four-wheel drivers is, what tyres should I run? These days there's so much choice when it comes to choosing the right set of tyres for your rig, and every tyre manufacturer reckons that they've got the absolute best thing on the market. So how do you choose the right set of tyres for your needs? Let me give you an up close and personal look at the tyres that we run on our rigs here at Adventure Kings, and I'll help you decide whether it's muddies or all-terrains that you need. Plus, if you hang around to the end, then I'll let you in on some easy tips and tricks that you can use to get an extra 30,000 kilometres out of any set of tyres. Now, I make no secrets about it, I'm bloody hard on my gear. In fact, I'm so hard on my gear that it's part of my job here at Adventure Kings. I get to take all the new camping and four-wheel drive gear out bush to see if I can break it. Because if I can't break it, then there's not much chance you'll be able to. These days we're running BF Goodrich tyres right across our fleet of four-wheel drives here at Adventure Kings, largely off the back of the fact that I've been running nothing but BF Goodrich all-terrain TAKO2s across my last four-wheel drives. In that time, I've clocked up more than 200,000 kilometres, including a 42,000 kilometre 9-month trip around Australia. And in that entire 200,000 kilometres, I haven't had a single flat. With the amount of time that I spend in remote areas camping and four-wheel driving, I can't afford to stuff around with tyres that get sidewall damage or flats or just have an overall lack of traction. And I think that's what I love the most about BF Goodrich tyres. They just work when I need them to. Now, we've also just fit a set of the KM3 muddies to our Ranger because out of our entire fleet, this vehicle here is the one that does the most tough low-range work. Now, I've had a chance to drive the KM3s on the Ranger, plus on a couple of other four-wheel drives now, on every sort of terrain from Queensland's beaches right down to the Victorian high country, and I've always been impressed with how well they perform. So if you go back 20 years, there was such a big gap between mud terrain and all-terrain tyres. All-terrains were generally very good at lasting for ages at the expense of off-road ability, and mud terrain tyres were great on snotty, muddy four-wheel drive tracks, but always seemed to wear really quickly. These days, advances in tyre technology have closed that gap between all-terrains and mud terrains. I've always been impressed by how well my KO2s perform on even the greasiest off-road tracks, and conversely, the KM3s have blown me away with just how good modern mud terrain tyres are when you're driving on the tarmac. Now, I reckon the majority of campers and four-wheel drivers would be absolutely stoked with a good set of modern all-terrains like the KO2s because they're great on road, they last for ages, and they still have plenty of off-road ability when the going gets tough. However, if you're the kind of four-wheel driver that loves hitting those tough tracks on weekends regularly, then modern muddies like the KM3s will give you every bit of traction you need while still being well-behaved enough to let you daily drive your rig every day of the week. Now to what you've been waiting for, how to get an extra 30,000 kilometres out of any set of tyres. Look, there's no doubting that tyres are a big investment in your vehicle's performance, and like any investment, you want it to pay serious returns. Here's 5 simple ways that you can extend the life of any set of tyres and very realistically get an extra 30,000 kilometres out of your set of tyres. So number 1 is always lower your tyre pressures when you're heading off-road. Adjusting your tyre pressure to suit the terrain means that your tyres have a much better ability to grip and conform around the terrain instead of skidding across the top of it. Starting point should be 16 psi for sand, 20 psi for rocky low-range hills, and don't be afraid to go lower if you're still struggling for traction. And don't forget to air your tyres back up to proper road pressures before you hit the tarmac, as well as keep a regular eye on pressures in between four-wheel drive trips. And number 2 is be sympathetic to your tyres when you're four-wheel driving. Don't just plant your foot and smoke them up. If you're losing traction, then stop and assess the situation. Track build if you need to by filling in holes with rocks and logs, and remember your winch is there to prevent damage to both your four-wheel drive and your tyres. Number 3 is rotate your tyres regularly. You'll get serious heel toe wear if you don't rotate your tyres every 10,000 kilometres. Rotating your tyres, including your spare if you've got a matching one, extends the life of your tyres dramatically. And ideally, you should be balancing at least your front 2 tyres every rotation as well. Number 4, don't ignore bad steering alignments. After a tough low-range trip, it's not uncommon for your steering wheel to be off-center, or at worst, for your vehicle to pull to one side or the other when you hit the tarmac. Bent or broken steering components are a serious safety issue, and they also lead to premature tyre wear. Don't ignore bad steering alignments because they'll only cost you more in the long run. And finally, number 5, be realistic about what you use your four-wheel drive for. Chucking a set of muddies on any four-wheel drive definitely makes it look tougher, but if you only get the opportunity to go out four-wheel driving once or twice a year, then you're just throwing your money down the drain and you're not using your tyres to their full potential. And in any case, a modern set of aggressive all-terrains looks seriously tough too. So the million-dollar question, muddies or all-terrains? Well, I want to throw that question to you. What do you think? Tell me in the comments, and remember, hit that subscribe button and the notification button to stay in touch with us for more camping and four-wheel driving tips and techniques.